Yo, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of Talking Movies. I'm joined by my co-host, Varangian Vigilante. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. It's Mr. fucking Olympia weekend, talking Demon Knight, one of the most awesome, funny horror movies of all time, and watching the 60th anniversary of the Mr. Olympia contest. Yeah, if you see my eyes wandering to the right on the stream, I'm having the split screen. I'm having basically now the wellness division is coming on, so I'm having like giant Brazilian butts in my face on the right. and Demon Knight on the left.
Oh man, you will be distracted.
Yeah, but it's I love bodybuilding.
Man, like when we was talking earlier this year, like in the middle of the year about Ernest Dickerson films, you know, we covered Surviving the Game, we covered Juice last year for my birthday, and it was like we got to talk Demon Knights because it's one of my favorite films. You know, watching this whenever it was on HBO, I used to always watch this film. And Billy Zane, like he was already great in other films, and we talked about him in the movie Posse with Mario Van Peebles, and he was great in it for the screen time he had in there. But this movie, he like took it to a whole new level, and it's great that when you have somebody like Ernest Dickerson that gave him that freedom to say, "Hey, do what you do best."
Just be Billy Zane. Just be Billy Zane.
And sure enough, like many people, even Billy Zane himself said that this is his favorite movie that he worked on.
It looks like everybody had fun when you watch it, and it's like impossible to not have fun yourself. You know, even though of course it's still a horror movie, it has the gory effect. Even though it differs from the storytelling. From the Tales from the Crypt from the series, because this was originally like a script that was supposed to be its own movie. It still very much fits in the theme of the Crypt Keeper and everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's what makes this movie like so much fun to watch. It's like it has the horror elements. The practical effects in this film is fantastic. Like from the transformation scenes all the way to, you know, how they do the set shots. It's fantastic, and that's a credit to Ernest Dickerson as a cinematographer.
Yeah. And it's actually even though I watched this movie plenty of times, actually never really looked up who the director was, but also now it's like, wait a moment, this was also directed by Dickerson?
Yes.
So that actually was like a very late surprise in me being a fan of this film, but it also like one of the reasons why you'd watch it and automatically hate it's a Dickerson movie, because he's so versatile. We Gurra said in the pre-show, when you compare like Juice like this drama with actually very deep drama with character studies, and then of course like Surviving the Game, which is a fantastic thriller in the woods, and then you have like here a horror film with like a very dark horror film with dark humor basically you can say, if you want to have a movie, get Dickerson. He can adapt. He can adapt. Yeah, he can adapt to the situation. He's not somebody who, maybe that's something that Hollywood actually wants, but actually I'm a fan when not every director has to put their own stamp on something. I'm actually happy when a director does the best thing to bring the script to the vision on the screen.
Yeah, like when it comes to Dickerson, he don't have his usual tropes like most directors do. You know,
yeah.
Like you can't compare this to Surviving the Game or Juice with different tropes or something that the director usually like to put in his films. Like you can see different things, but you'll always notice a director's trope. Like Spike Lee, Sam Raimi, they all have their own things that they like to put in the film. Whereas you watch Dickerson's films, none of that. You don't see none of that because he likes to change his style and not have those tropes creep into his films. And that's what I love about his movies.
So actually, Dickerson might be one of the best directors for hire.
Yeah, and it's a shame that he doesn't have a whole lot of directing, when it comes to his films.
Yeah.
But, for what he's done, and Bones is another film we gotta talk with Snoop Dogg and Pam Griers in that as well. So we gotta talk Bones. He did that film as well.
Always up for some Snoop Dogg, some Pam Grier, and some Dickerson movie, but yeah, Demon Knight brings back so many memories. I remember when I was a teenager and, just, you had like a night you had the TV on. There wasn't a time before there was like internet or before you could watch something on the internet because there was not enough bandwidth to do so. And this movie was running, I think, at 1 a.m. on an Austrian TV channel, and immediately got me hooked.
Yep.
And ever since I'm like, this is a movie I have to rewatch over and over again, because it has everything in there which is cool. It has like a very deep lore, it has fantastic characters, it has a fantastic cast that really bring those characters to life. It is very fast-paced, and it has dark humor, but it never stops being scary. And when I watch as a teenager, actually you really feel being trapped in the hotel, and you really feel the desperation of everybody in there. Actually, this is a movie I have absolutely no complaints about, and of course, most of all, Billy Zane having tons of fun, and it's visible.
The only thing that people will complain about with this film is how Breaker's character has a lot of plot armor until his death, because the amount of times he got hemmed up when everybody gets possessed, and they could have easily ripped his head off, like when he was getting strangled by Caroline, and then she breaks what's name's arm, CCH Father's arm. He's like, why should she just rip his head off? But he's got to have plot armor because he's the main point of the whole film.
Yeah, and especially like in a horror movie with dark humor, I think it's even more acceptable because this movie very much, of course, because the whole Tales of Crypt stems from the EC horror title, and from the comics. So you also have this connection, and so I think it's this is really a comic come to life. In the best sort of way, you have the really bright colors. Actually, I think I know some people criticize some effects, but actually I love the effects. Even the one that sort of are visible that they're effects, but I still think it works because it's such a surreal and vibrant movie. So hey, Chase.
Yeah, that. Again, it's shout out to the people who worked on the special effects, because they could have leaned towards CGI and certain things and stuff, but they stuck with practical effects. Even the reveal of the collector at the end was a great shot, and that's the thing. Sometimes you get those shots and you have to nail it straight up, and they did. Man, what's up, Jacob, man? But yeah, this movie is just amazing. Well cast. The great Dick Miller as Uncle Ben.
Rest in peace.
He was great in this film. Of course, I when I think of Dick Miller, I think of Gremlins.
Yeah, naturally.
And then
Terminator.
Terminator. But he was amazing in this, and it's great that he had a lengthy character role in this film.
Yeah. And of course, also the Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church.
Yes, the Roach.
The Roach. Yeah, he was is perfect as the asshole and betrayer.
It's you knew you couldn't trust him, even when he said, shake his hand and stuff. Look at them stealing the vial of blood.
And I just love his details, also Wally, Wally the character, that he's love with the hook as he's the postman at post office, And then we later find out he was actually planning to shoot up the post office because he was so fed up with the job and he wanted to, like,
he was ready to go postal.
It was exactly. Yeah, Jacob, we already talked about it. Like, Billy Zane steals every fucking scene in this film. Is that, you know, from punching holes to just summoning a sponge out of his mouth.
He was amazing. He like, fuck this cowboy shit. You fucking hold down. Well, them there motherfuckers.
Yeah,
he owned this fucking role. Like, you cannot watch this film and just come away loving Billy Zane even more.
Yeah, it's, you know, and I think it's also such a fantastic contrast because, of course, William Sadler plays like the, I wouldn't even say anti-hero because he's actually a true hero in this sense because he's like sacrificing himself and doing this since World War One. But he's like such a rough, such a gritty character that has to feel a lot, like no shit character. And of course, the collector, Billy Zane's version of the collector, is so the polar opposite. You know, it just makes evil fun. It makes evil look fun.
Yeah, like in movies, like you would think like certain demons would be like just straight up evil and serious. Billy Zane, he just channeled his inner, like, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna be that collector that makes you think, oh, you know, maybe he's reasonable. That's why Roach fell into that trap of think maybe this guy's reasonable. I can talk to him and give him what he wants, and I'll be able to get off. Nah.
Yeah, Jacob, you're totally right. We also already talked about that a little bit. When I was said, like, I watched this movie when I was like an early teenager on Austrian free TV back in the day, and I watched it at 1 a.m. and I just like it really, like, you know, the horror of surviving in this hotel, being locked in there, dangers everywhere. That, and also like I didn't fall asleep very lightly after watching it for the first time when I was an early teenager. But now I'm at a point where I can just enjoy it without busy annoyed. But
it's like, as scary as the movie was, the comedy balanced it out with Billy Zane's character and with Dick Miller and stuff. Like that, it had a great structure of horror and comedy, and it worked so well together.
Yeah, and I think that the horror even shines more through because of that, because the comedy brings you like a little down and almost makes you feel safe. It's like, hey, Billy Zane the collector, he's so funny, he can't be that evil. Oh, fucking, he's even more evil than that.
And then he gets even worse when he starts to really fall in love with Geraldine. Like, man, and I'll give the Jada, she was hot during that last act, you know, right? Like, yeah, I can see why the collector fell in love with her.
Yeah.
What's up, K-pop?
Keep her name out of your fucking mouth. Hey, K-pop.
Yeah, she was feisty as hell. But yeah, that again, it's like this film I could just watch over and over again and gain little new details on it, man.
Yeah, still Billy Zane got more.
Yes, I agree, because the way the movie ended, they could have kept it going.
Yeah, and also have to say, Billy Zane probably got more game with her than Will Smith did a little long time.
Maybe she should have hooked up with Billy Zane. Maybe she would have been in the Phantom movie too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even the way the movie ended, this story can continue going with her evading different collectors and stuff that's trying to collect that 7th key.
Would have been a better next entry than Bordel of Blood for sure. Even though Bordel of Blood was still fun.
Yeah, like I said, we mentioned Bordel of Blood and how it's too similar to From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes, also with the stars, I agree. I also think this. What's also so wonderful about this movie is that it has a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to lore. like the explanation, why this hotel, why 7 people, like the stars on the hand, that basically, leads him where the stars have to be right because he has to be like in a certain place at a certain time. So I think that like also gave like a sense of urgency, especially like in the beginning, and also a sense of structure. So there's like it's just not like a coincidence that he's there. No, it's basically it's the destiny.
And I like how Ernest Dickerson said like one of the toughest scenes he had to shoot was the crucifixion scenes, with the body on the cross and stuff. But he had somebody there to help work with him on that. And it was, I love that backstory of going back to the crucifixion times
Yeah.
and stuff, and showing that how that the blood that they had to gather to keep the demons away from that key.
Yeah, the whole backstory is very interesting, like lore-wise. I really like it, that the demons need the key to be like back on Earth because they're like banished to darkness. It just, it makes this movie feel deeper than it is, but it doesn't feel pretentious. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I agree with Jacob. The way the movie opens up, with the car chase scene, and it's funny how Breaker is being chased, and then he look at the gas, and he's running out of gas. So now he's got the face Billy Zane head on the collector, and he's shooting the car. The car blows up, and I was like, the way they shot that, hey, like, how did he not get hit by the car? But he jumped out on the other side, but they don't show it. But it was just a fantastic opening scene, and it really set the tone for what was to come.
Yeah, I really, every time I watch this movie, I also think that William Sadler should have had like more leading man roles as a gritty action hero, like.
He always plays those side characters, but he was never like truly the lead.
Yeah, so I really think that he had enough talent, and he had like the look for sure. I mean, he's also like versatile, of course, like playing Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and of course being in the second best Die Hard movie after the third Die Hard.
And we saw how great he was in Trespass.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we talked Trespass, we talked about how great of an actor he is and how underutilized he is in terms of the overall scope of Hollywood. Like, he should have been in a lot more bigger roles in his career.
Yeah, because his body of work is awesome, but it doesn't represent the potential that he had at that point in his career.
Got G-Man in the chat, man. But yeah, this film is awesome. The whole cast, the hotel scene. To me, who the hell would want to stay in that place? In the middle of nowhere. Again, the location of it being in New Mexico was perfect.
I mean, it's New Mexico. Isn't it like just a regular looking hotel
in the desert? And you got this little rundown hotel here. You got a little neighborhood over on the other side where the kid and the parents was at, and they end up being turned into demons. And you got this rundown hotel with some creepy ass people in it. And you got Geraldine just working based on her work belief because she was going to be in jail. And I just love the introduction of the characters. CCH Pounder, amazing actress. She's another one that we talk about her in End of Days.
Yeah.
And she's another great actress that always shines in whatever role that she's in. And she's powerful. And she's the voice of Amanda Waller in the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah. And as you can see with the quote that I've chosen, she made my favorite one-liner in the whole movie.
Yeah, I definitely love the characters' backstories, you know, and you get
it never gets boring. It never gets boring, And what with the backstory is also so good, because what I hate in a horror movie is when you actually really want the characters to die, because that always means that the characters are not well written and just annoying. But
That's
here,
100% in slasher films, like
yeah,
especially the Jason movies. Like you just want them to die because they're
Yeah.
stupid.
but here every death feels like a loss, because it's not only that the character dies, but it's also that we have one awesome character less. It's even like to the small roles, like with Wally the postman, and hey Freaky Louis, and Billy Zane. It's fucking Billy. There's a reason why one of the best quotes in Zoolander is "Listen to your friend Billy Zane," because it's Billy Zane.
Hey, this quote right here, like that's how I felt with the recent Halloween films. Like I was getting fed up with the characters. Like Michael Myers just need to wipe the whole goddamn town up, and that's exactly what he did. He killed everybody, and I was sad for him because I was like, they stupid as hell. So it's a lot of these horror films make the characters so stupid that you just want to see them die.
And
whereas this
here,
movie, actually, you're invested into the characters.
And this is also something Billy Zane is so good in it. So actually, it would be very hey, Big Remo. It's a tornado tag team match. Yeah. Because it would be very easy to cheer for Billy Zane's character, for the Collect in this movie, because he's so entertaining, he's so charming and everything. But the other actors portray their characters so well into horror, and why you shouldn't root for the Collector. So actually, it makes really fun. It's really fun to root for the humans, even though Billy Zane is awesome.
There's only one character that you dislike, and that's Roach. And the Thomas Hayden Church nails it because he's the only one that comes off like a prick.
Yeah, because he is he's called Roach.
He's called Roach. Like you want him to get. It would have been great if the Collector would have turned him into a roach and stepped on him.
Yeah, and there's a very interesting definition of what a good time looks like.
Yep. So yeah, the characters in this movie really elevates it. You even feel sorry for the sheriff because he's doing his job.
Yeah.
Dude got a hole punched through his head, and then I love the Collector struggling to get his fist out of it. That's why I had to post that scene on Instagram, because I got to post something with this hurricane coming through.
Yeah, fun story. I actually saw Demon Knight before I watched Evil Dead, and I thought they were somehow connected because the demons look so much alike with the Deadites.
Yeah. That would have been a pretty nice connection.
Yeah. Would actually work.
It would have been great if Bruce Campbell would have made an appearance.
Bruce Campbell versus Billy Zane.
Oh, man.
Damn, we missed out.
We missed out.
Hey, why we have so many? We have like all these weeks with barely anybody being in the chat, and the moment we talk Billy Zane, everybody comes crawling out of the woodwork.
Hey, VV, I was gonna mention that, but I was like, nah, let the people keep popping up.
Maybe we should talk more Billy. Maybe we should just become a Billy Zane appreciation channel.
Yes, that's another film.
Baba Hotep.
Man, we gotta talk that film.
Yeah. Like they say in My Name is Bruce, Baba Hotep doesn't count because everybody likes Baba Hotep.
Him and Ozzy Davis together, like I love that film. Yeah, everybody's popping up, man.
Yeah.
You know it's something when the great legend pops in, man.
Yeah.
But again, another thing I love about the film is the seeds the Collector plays trying to infiltrate and get into their minds and saying I could lead you into your
Yeah, all
Fast
this
and
all these
Furious.
fantasies, all these fantasies are so well. Hey Al, hope you're doing well, bro.
Yeah, man. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
so
the whole thing with Geraldine and him trying to tempt her. He tempted Roach, he tempted Caroline. Like all of them. That's
uh,
what makes the movie really good is him trying to
yeah,
manipulate his way into
yeah.
the house. And I
I
love
love
how
it.
the use of the blood blocking off his entrance because the blood is religious, so they can't cross that line, and it also hurts him.
Yeah, and what I want to say? No, I forgot. I also love Dick Miller's definition of a good time, just with booze and chase.
Oh man,
Nice.
I've been missing out on many opportunities to meet him because he be at Spooky Empire almost every year.
You
And
should get.
I will say I was going because of this damn hurricane. It canceled Spooky Empire, which was this weekend, and I missed my opportunity to meet Ernie Hudson. That was the main reason for me to go to meet Winston Zedmore.
Yeah, it's and this channel we love Hudson so much. Like I am in pain secondhand because Sean can't see him. Like
man, when
Ernie Hudson is the
was
man.
coming, that was the biggest gut punch ever. And then the Spooky
Yeah.
Empire said that they got to cancel and reschedule, and there's no guarantee he might come for the reschedule. So, like I said, prayers. I hope I get the chance to meet him because they refunded me my photo ops, but they're gonna hold on to the ticket purchase until they get the reschedule. If he's not on the reschedule, like I said, that was the main reason to go.
Yeah, it really sucks, but yeah, at least the house is still there.
Yeah, and everybody came out well. The hurricane did a lot of damage.
Yeah,
it did a lot of damage.
It even something is serious when even in Europe it's like reporting on that like basically a doomsday cloud is coming over Florida.
Yeah, but that couldn't stop us from doing this show. Thankfully, power stayed on, so I was able to watch the film and the whole thing with Billy Zane's collector character and infiltrating all the characters. My favorite one is when he tried to get, of course, the quote that you got there with CHH Pounder, and she already missing an arm. So when he approached her with that, he like, this is me giving you the middle finger with her no arm self.
Yeah. And that was such a that was the one-liner in the whole movie. In a movie filled with awesome one-liners.
Yeah, because it's like Billy Zane had so many lines. Like I told the one where you're not worth the flesh you're printing on.
Yeah.
I had to shorten it, but like there's so many great one-liners in this film. And it's like if I could have fit the whole damn cowboy line, I would have put that on there too.
Yeah. And what I also love about this, fantasies is that they really nailed that every person has a different aim in life, and that they also really showcase this with different approaches. And Billy Zane being over the top comical everyone, but just a little bit different than the other one. He's just very much going with the flow of the respective fantasy, and he should have gotten a fucking Oscar for this. I say like
he should have, man.
But the Oscar is not very kind to good movies.
Well, you know what? We don't care about the Oscars because
yeah.
And if that's the case, there's a lot of films that we could talk about deserving Oscars. But Billy Zane really elevates this film. But the character I want to talk about, and I think is I want to talk more about Breaker, because William Sadler really played this straight man character to the T, and the backstory is really what makes his character work, because the man's been around since the First World War.
First World War, yes.
So, can you imagine?
It's so hard to remember because we lost both.
But can you imagine just living that long with this curse that you have to carry the key with the blood in it, and this is what the collector wants.
Exactly, and I think it also shows, the movie also, like especially with the epilogue, shows so greatly what the life of the Chosen One is, because it's not like that Jada Pinkett Smith character, like now it's like a smooth sailing until the next collector comes. No, the next collector is already there, and she was very wise to use the little bit of blood on the bus. And the other one was like, I'm gonna take the next one.
And that shows her growth, learning from him the importance of the blood. You know, like the fact that she covered herself in blood.
Yeah.
To fool the collector. That was amazing. But back to Breaker, it's like the whole point of him being chased down by various collectors for that one key that he has. And then, you know, he's got the stars on his hand, the 7 stars on his hand. It's like this is an anthology when you really look at it.
Yes.
Of various stories being took. And if you really like look at it, they could have had multiple people be the holder of the key and fight different collectors.
I think if they wouldn't have already have, unlike all the movies, because I think wasn't Portal of Blood actually done earlier, and they just chose Demon Knight to go first because it has the strongest script. That I think if they would have just done Demon Knights with no plans of Portal of Blood, I think they could have gone for like an anthology. Not only that the key is like the linking part, but the collector may be the linking part.
Yeah. There's so much they could have done more.
And especially since it goes back to the crucifixion, you could have like many period movies with the collector.
Yeah, and again, they could have went back to the first person who had the key after the crucifixion. You know,
Zachariah, or what was it?
But there was so much, you know, lore with that story that they could have kept it going. And I wish they could have. I wish they could have did like a special. Cause I can't remember if Tales from the Crypt was still on at this time. I think it was still on at this time. But they could have did an episode just on this.
Could be, but I think that even though, like, of course, Tales from the Crypt and Demon Knight have both like dark human horror. The pacing, of course, since it's like shorter episodes in the series, was very different, and it was more about like I think a character getting revenge than actually a character protecting something. So it was also less action oriented than Demon Knight. So you can see that Demon Knight should have been like its own script, but I think it still works within the Crypt Keeper universum.
So Kenneth.
Hey, Kenneth.
And then you look at Geraldine and her character arc. You know, she's being overworked at the hotel. You know, she had a cat, and that was another thing. I liked how when Breaker saw the cat and the cat was already outside, that he's like, that cat could be possessed. And this is after he already locked the hotel in with the blood. Yeah. So it's like, if that cat got in here, that cat could be possessed. And they could have played up to that a little bit, but you know, they said the cat was safe because they didn't want to do no animal carnage there.
Yeah. But in general, also, she's a very interesting final girl. like from a character growth in the movie. So fits within the trope, but I still think that Demon Knight gives it like its own spin, which doesn't make the trope look stale. Because of course today, if this movie will come out, it's like people will probably complain. It's like, I'm pretty sure that girl is gonna take over.
But it felt natural here.
Exactly.
Like it didn't feel like, oh, it was shoehorned, it's forced and stuff like that. It felt like a natural evolution of her becoming the one.
Exactly. And this is like how it's done right. And I think if, like I said, I don't. Of course, there's some very weird people in Hollywood. Actually, there's a lot of weird people in Hollywood. But at least back in the day, they were good writers. Because it was, back in the day, it was snowing all year long.
Yeah, it felt more natural with her. And that's why, and that, I say that Jada was perfect because, again, her small stature, like her stature of she's small and stuff, you wouldn't expect her to be the one, but she ended up being the one.
Yeah.
And the character is written very intelligently, where it's not like she didn't come off as arrogant or disrespectful towards her, which is sometimes they do tend to do that. And her character growth really grows on to the audience, and that's what makes her such an enduring character. It's like she don't pushes the audience away. She wants the audience to root for her.
Yeah, because in the beginning you would see like her, but in the end of the movie I get it. Like this is the magic of storytelling, because you can have a hero character. Everybody can be a hero character. You just have to tell the story why it's believable, and they did it totally right.
Yeah, see, that's exactly
absolutely
what
agree with it.
And that that was the thing with Bordello of Blood. Like, I didn't buy Dennis Miller. Like, I already knew him as the talk show host, so I was like, really, Dennis Miller?
Yeah, Bordello of Blood was, like I say, it's the poor man's From Dusk Till Dawn.
And that was the thing with that film. But Demon Knight really, like, to me, the cast is much stronger, and it really elevates the film. Because even the minor characters that didn't have, play massive roles, like Brenda Baker, who played Cordella, I thought she played well for her part, and her transformation was nice. Was pretty cool. And Danny, played by Ryan Donahue, like he fell head over heels for her, only for her to seduce him and kill him the way she did. But I even like Deputy Bob. Like, you would think he'd be the one to get killed early on, but he grows as a character.
Yeah.
Because he's stuck in there, and he's got the gun, and he's making sure they manage their bullets and stuff like that. So I thought every character was written perfectly. None of them came off as idiots, or you wanted to see this person die outside the ropes because you knew he was a betrayer. He only looked out for himself. But I thought every character was written very well.
Absolutely, and this is also why this movie has not. It never gets stale. There's not one scene where I thought, "Hey, please move on." It's one of these perfectly paced
You want
films.
more. You want
more. But it's a nice thing, because it gives you plenty enough to be satisfied, but it also has such a rich lore that you want more.
I will say there is one character I was like, fuck it, that he needs to die immediately, and that was the young boy.
Kids always do that. That's why I laugh at movies.
Soon as he came on, I was like, you can't trust kids.
Exactly.
Get him out of there.
It's like, shoot him. It's like, how did you know it was possessed? Did you know it was possessed?
And on top of that, it's like, in certain situations, he's reading comic books. I'm like, we ain't got time to read no comic books. We already being surrounded by demons and shit, and you reading the comic book.
And this is coming from comic book collectors.
comic down, man. You better
Yeah.
go get a gun or something, man. But then again, I wouldn't want to trust him with a gun like that.
I would love to see. Yeah, I would love to see Jeff in that situation, like the key or the vampy number one.
He'll take vampy one over the key.
Like, fuck this world.
Matter of fact, that's exactly what the collector would do. We'll get into his temptations.
Yeah.
And tease him with Vampirella.
Jeff, we will all know what your fantasy would look like.
And I like how the collector tried to tempt Geraldine, and then when you see her coming across the hall, you would think that, you know, she got tempted by the collector, because the way she comes across, very slow, very ominous. It's like, did he really get to her? But you know, and Breaker came to her later and said he tried to tempt you, and she said, yeah. That's where Breaker knew that she was the one, because she avoided his temptation.
Yeah, and she was also able to deceive the deceiver.
Yeah, and like I said, another thing. After Roach's death, I love that Bob and C.H.H. Pounder's character went for the ultimate sacrifice. They found the grenades, you know, and that scene showed the sacrifice they was willing to make to take out the demons and buy them some time, because that really felt like a scene that meant something to those characters.
It did.
And when you do see it, it's like, damn, like you love them even more for their. It almost reminds me of Aliens, you know, when they were trapped in the tube in the tunnel, and Vasquez, you know, sacrificed themselves just to let the others escape. That those type of scenes always get to you as an audience, because it's like you're willing to say, get out of here, we'll sacrifice ourselves to stop them.
Absolutely, and this is what you've seen that shows again, that you can have humor in a movie and still have this amount of gravitas, this sacrifice, and you know, it's such a perfect blend of different subgenres of horror in there, and it's movies like these are not done anymore, and it was just a magical time back in the day, because also with Tales from the Crypt on TV, just, you know, the amount of stars that were in Tales of the Crypt, and it was just I think storytelling was more appreciated, and also usually the Tales of the Crypt stories were not stupid. They they made you think, and this is missing on today's TV.
A lot of those anthologies from back in the day had high writing in it. You know, between Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, Hitchhiker, a lot of them, like, man, these are some really good stories. The days of anthologies are long gone. Like, they can't measure up to what they did back in the days.
I think a good rule of thumb for storytelling is always, if you can't see it being told at a fire, then it ain't a good story.
Speaking of fire, I'll tell you what we won't see today. We won't see the collector giving a golden fire shower in today's.
Oh boy, let me whip it out.
We won't see something like that today. Even back then, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I know, I heard people saying they're having a burning sensation, but that's brought it to a new level.
Whole new level. But again, like, that ending sequence was so great, because even, like, again, it's like the collector is so devilish, but yet so charming, that he turned a whole situation into a dance scene. It doesn't feel out of place, because it fits Billy Zane's collector's character. So it's like damn, like, and Geraldine being smart, drinking the blood and holding it in and let him do his thing. It was genius writing.
And also, not only genius writing, but also genius adapting into the screen from Dickerson. Like, it's one thing to have like a really fantastic script, but it's another thing to put it to life. And he did it. And I don't think he's getting enough credit. Like, I didn't give him enough credit for it until today because I actually never looked up who directed it. And I'm like, I'm an idiot. I should, like, all these years should have been like championed him like for doing more movies.
I watched a movie that I ain't seen in a long time earlier this year. That was about Temptation. You know, underrated film. He was a part of that. He was the cinematographer, and he also did some of the horror scenes in it. And one of the most fantastic scenes in that film was when Kadeem Harrison's character got ate by the TV and then spat out visuals of blood through the TV screen. And it was probably the best scene in the film. And he directed that whole part.
I don't think I've seen it. Maybe it's different call in German. I have to check later.
Because I have posted that for the Black History Month films that I covered, and that scene stood out the most. Because
I have to look up it, Brian. Yeah.
Ernest Dickerson directed that part of the movie because that was his like whole thing, and he always had something with horror, and that's why when he did this film, it was nice for him to like finally do some more horror because he always had something background with horror, and when he did Death by Temptation, he was like, I can do horror.
Because it's really interesting, especially when you compare it like with Sam Raimi, that actually quality-wise, Demon Knight is right up there, especially like with Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
And yet Sam Raimi went to the Hollywood Olymp with a Spider-Man, and Dickerson, despite being as talented, didn't get like this.
Didn't get the same treatment.
Yeah, didn't get the same treatment, which is a pity.
And like when we talk his films, it's like there's a quality to them that's unmatched.
And especially after Choose, because this was such a good movie. Choose, like I'm not good movie, but actually it's like a like it was a fucking good drama, and I'm not somebody who normally likes drama, but that movie has had depth to it, and
there's a whole lot to take away from it. And again, like when we talked about the 5 heartbeats and how the father was saying you ain't gonna be shit, it ties back into that Juice and hanging with the homeboys, but always putting somebody down. So there's things that's relatable to it, and that you connect. Like you don't want to be that type of person, and that's what makes Ernest Dickerson such a great director, is that he can work with a variety of style of actors and make it work. You know, like somebody like Rutger Hauer, you know, he heard stories about him, and then all he had to do was talk to him and say, hey, we got a lot more in common than what people think. You know, and that's what made Surviving the Game work.
And you know, when you see about like especially like Surviving the Game and here with Demon Knight, that you have so many stars on board, it's tough to juggle between it, and he really proved that he can work with high profile actors, and especially with Demon Knight, like not only to bring out the best in them, but also making them a great environment where everybody had fun on set. I mean, Billy Zane did many fantastic movies, has been on many sets. There was a lot of shit movies recently. However, him still looking back and just like this is his favorite role and favorite experience says a lot about the environment that Dickerson and his crew created doing this movie.
Yep. And when you got somebody like Dick Miller, who was fantastic, like the scene where he transformed.
Oh yeah, this must not be comfortable to wear makeup. I can tell you that.
And even when they transitioned, he was in demon form once, and then he turned around, he's in regular form, and it's like that right
great
there.
Editing, great editing,
great editing, great cinematography, great use of special effects, and again, like dude gets his head chopped off, and the eyes of the head opens up, and the body's still fighting Breaker.
I absolutely love it.
Just top tier work from a top tier director. Even the transformation of the child with the eyes popping up in the comic scene, and he getting transformed, gnarly effects. And I like how each page turn, and you see the characters on the page.
Yes, like I said, they always appreciate like the comic book roots of Tales from the Crypt.
Exactly, and it makes you think of Creep Show, with the comic effects. How they transition from different. What's another movie we gotta talk? We gotta talk about Creep Show.
Yeah, and of course there's also wasn't there also like the original Tales from the Crypt, was the original Creep Show that.
Yeah,
no, I think the original with Peter Cushing.
Yeah, 1972.
Exactly. Exactly. Peter Cushing. We're gonna talk more Peter Cushing at the end of the October, of course.
To that.
Yeah.
But, we gotta talk the original Tales from the Crypt, but Creep Show is another film that I love to death. And I'm gaining a bit more.
Romero, Creep Show.
Yeah. But I'm gaining a little more appreciation for the second film of Creep Show. It's still not as good as the original, but I always liked the middle story with the blob in the water. But I'm gaining a little bit more appreciation for the second film.
Also, the latest who published the comics? Was it Image or the Creep Show comics?
The recent ones.
The recent ones.
Yeah.
Because I got the first run, they were really good, but I put it off the pull list because I hated that they renumbered it with number ones, and I'm out.
I think. Shit, I'm not sure if it was Dynamite. I'm not sure.
No, Dynamite. It was not Dynamite.
I know it ain't Dynamite.
It was either Image or I think it was Image. Whatever. It was a really good horror film.
Yeah, because I did pick up the first issue, and I enjoyed it, but I just didn't want to add another book to my pull.
Yeah. In general, there's actually horror anthologies are right now actually really prominently covered in comic books. Of course, also the Shudder magazine and Vampirist Camilla doing a fantastic job of all the news stories. So I'm really happy that this tradition is living on within comics, but now it's time to bring it back on TV.
Yes, and the sad part is I don't think today's audiences are leaning towards the anthologies. Like they're not what we grew up off, because we grew up off of stuff like the Twilight Zone.
Isn't basically every Netflix series an anthology because they cancel it after one season?
It's Netflix though. Like that's the biggest problem. It's like half the time Netflix stuff sucks. You give it the opportunity and then we watch it
Yeah.
But it's not
like I said, I'm not gonna get Netflix until January when Raw moves to it.
And I'll tell you this right now. The McMahon series, the Mr. McMahon series, is basically a glorified WWE history.
Yeah, I heard about it's basically just introducing wrestling to normies.
Yeah, it's for newbies. All us wrestling fans already knew this shit.
I heard all the reviews, and I do have to say I don't know, but the only thing I really know is when you get interviewed, it doesn't matter what context it is. When your answer is, well, the statute of limitations ran out. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't matter. It's like that. That's never a good art.
I could not believe what I was hearing when I heard that shit.
I mean, I have to say also that Vince McMahon is it was such a Vince McMahon thing to say too, because it's
I really think like he was just saying things. I don't even know. When it comes to Vince McMahon, it's hard to decide. And after every episode, I listen to Jim Cornette talk about it.
All the Jim Cornette.
I tend to agree. Like we don't know about his childhood, and I don't think Vince particularly wants to talk about it. So, but Vince McMahon is a hard character in another film that we need.
Yeah, I watched the reviews by Jim Cornette and by Eric Bishop.
Yeah.
So I got so basically watched the documentary secondhand, but I was like, I ain't give Netflix money for this.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Demon Knight is another. It's a film that I can watch numerous times. There's so much.
Once a year at least.
Yeah, and every time I covered this a couple years ago on my horror movie spotlight, which I need to bring back for Instagram one time because I always enjoy doing. It's like when you watch a film and then you type up an essay on it. Like how you used to do with your film reviews. It's fun. It's fun when you break it down the movie and you talk about it.
Yeah. And also because another movie we talked last year, which goes very well in a screening when you watch multiple horror movies at home with a dissimilar vibe. Demons goes very well.
Yes, that's anything with demons I can watch, like Night of the Demons and stuff like that. I love films like that because it just they always put you in the unsettling building or a setting. And then you're surrounded by a bunch of demons, and you gotta survive. And it's stuff like that I always enjoy.
Absolutely.
And when we talked demons last year, it's like this is right on the alley of that.
Exactly, goes very well in a double feature when you want to have a really nice demon night. But
Demon Knight is a great film. Ernest Dickerson really delivered with this one, and hopefully, like I said, we'll talk Bones in the future, and maybe some more Ernest Dickerson films. Because he doesn't have as a director, he doesn't have a big list of movies. He directed a lot of TV films, but he doesn't have a massive amount of films that he directed in Hollywood, and it's a shame.
It is. It truly is. But hey, from Demon Knight, we go next week. We go to vampires next week, because we're talking Blade, or 3 1/4 of them.
Yes, because we're gonna talk between the Deadpool Wolverine and Blade scene in that.
And let's see if next week also a lot of people come in chat. Let's see how many motherfuckers always ice skate uphill.
But it doesn't matter if we had 8 people in the chat or 1 people. We're just gonna enjoy talking about these films because that's the thing that we love to do every Friday, and it's super fun.
It is, and maybe I should make this a thing, like with the split screen, talking movies on the left and watching female Brazilian wellness competitors on the right.
Split screen, baby.
Split screen. Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy night. After this, I'm gonna finish watching the Mr. Olympia pre-charging. Then I'm going quickly to sleep. At 2 a.m. my alarm sounds because then the finals are. So this weekend I am on Vegas time, and actually I'm very happy that they moved it to Vegas last year, because otherwise it would have been in Orlando this weekend, and this would have been crazy. So good thing they actually moved it to Vegas.
Like I said, I'm just hoping that Spooky Empire can get Ernie for the reschedule, because tomorrow would have been the day, but the
Oh.
hurricane said, "Fuck you, Sean. That's not happening." But again, like I said, if Ernie Hudson comes for the rescheduled dates, you will see a photo of me and the great Ernie Hudson. And matter of fact, if it's in whatever date it's in, if it's later this month, or maybe next month, I will tell you to send me Leviathan, because I'm gonna bring that up to him. I was like, I was mad as hell as a kid when you died in Leviathan.
Yes, that's we have to do that. And of course, whenever he has time, you're gonna make time to see Ernie Hudson.
Yes. we still got plenty of movies to talk about with Ernie Hudson. But yeah, that's our plan for next week. We're gonna talk the Blade trilogy, and hopefully, we'll have the cast of people. But if not,
we still have Wesley. We still have Wesley Snipes, so it's
exactly. But other than that, I just want to say, have a great weekend, y'all. It's been great seeing everybody in the chat. Vicky, Louie, K-Pop, the G-Man, Kenneth. I gotta give shout outs to everybody here, man.
Yeah.
Dusty,
especially Kenneth, who really is here every week.
Yes. Kenneth is, who else popped in here, man? Great Legend, he was here. Yeah, like I said, the chat was popping today, man.
Yeah, and those are very nice inputs from Jacob, Big Reno.
This was the comment right here, man. He was stressing.
It is like it's in 100 years we're gonna look like the Crypt Keeper. Like
we gotta talk about that opening scene with the Crypt Keeper and the closing scene with the Crypt Keeper.
In 100 years we're gonna look like the Waynes were parodying Stay Tuned. If you remember that movie, the John Ritter movie, Stay Tuned,
yes.
It was actually a pretty shitty movie, but I always remember the zombie Wayne's World scene in it.
I kind of liked that one though.
As a kid too, but actually maybe it's also time to rewatch that one. And
it's been a while. I used to watch that back to back with Mom and Dad Save the World. Oh God!
You know what? I always watched that one with with the truly crazy Walkavania movie. How is it called in? Is it called Walkavania? In English, it's Let me check.
I like how the Crypt Keeper got his head cut off.
Is that crazy? Ah, no, of course. It's called in German Walkavania, die wunderbare Welt des Wahnsinns. It's the Dan Aykroyd masterpiece, Nothing But Trouble, with also with John Kent.
Yeah. Man, look, that was a movie that got shitted on at the box office. It got shitted on by the critics. But every time it was on TV, I watched it.
It never was boring. It never was boring. It never
boring. You got Chevy Chase, you got Demi Moore, you got all these actors in this film. And then Dan Aykroyd, just over the top.
And
then you got that Digital Underground, the Tupac in the movie.
Dan Aykroyd having no editor, no filter.
But I watched it, and it was like, this is the weirdest movie ever, but I can't stop watching it. This movie, there are literal movies that you be like, why am I watching this shit? But you're watching it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't turn it off. Like, Pootie Tang is another film. Like, why the fuck am I watching this film? But then it's on TV, I'm watching it.
Maybe next year we have to do like a Stay Tuned and Nothing But Trouble double feature.
We got to, man. We got to. And like I said, it's been a long time since I watched Stay Tuned.
Yeah, I haven't watched both movies actually since I was a kid.
We're gonna make that a note. We're gonna talk those films.
Yes. But next week, Blade and now it's time for me to finish the prejudging and then quickly take a power nap to come back at 2 a.m. quickly grill a steak. Vegas time, baby.
Vegas time. All right, everybody. We are out.
Yeah.